Hello everyone, this is your BLUFOR director. This is the second recording of the BLUFOR meeting in case you missed it. So let's begin. The new protocols we've added on page 18 of the BLUFOR handbook. Hello. You can find this link in this channel right here in the BLUFOR document link in the description. It's this BLUFOR handbook link here. We're going to be touching on the new application for NCO in a bit. So we've added these punishments because players, regardless of whatever protocols we put in, whatever encouragements we make or whatever we say, nothing's going to be done about it. So as a deterrent, and we've seen this working in other communities and in a test run it has worked before, we will be giving BLUFOR suspensions and demotions. These are listed here. For example, if you break a protocol, you'll get a 1-day suspension. If you break, let's say you don't listen to higher ranks, that means you've done this and this on 2 different occasions, and 2 total suspensions will result in a demotion. For example, that's one way you can interpret it. Our lieutenants, our captains, and our colonel will be enforcing these rules a little bit harsher. They'll be getting more power with these protocols, and with the new, I just touched on this, but we're going to be coming back to this. With the new BLUFOR NCO applications, no longer do you have to ask to get promoted or just kind of play the politics game. Now you can just submit an application directly. So you just put your name, your unit, all of this stuff. You can only apply for ranks private first class to staff sergeant because those are NCO ranks, excluding private first class. However, we couldn't find a name to characterize that, so it's just private first class to staff sergeant. You will need a reference, and one thing we want to emphasize, please write a long answer text for this, quite a few sentences. We don't want short. We want those sentences you post here is what we consider, besides what we already know. We've already given out 1 promotion today. However, we have declined quite a few applications just based on how short this was and how well we know you. So if you ever need help on TeamSpeak, you have a question about these documents or anything, please come to one of our lieutenants, our captains, or our colonel. Speak to me directly if it is a BLUFOR issue, like BLUFOR complaint or otherwise. You shouldn't be coming to me for things that could be handled like training or those kind of things. Protocols are all found in this channel. For example, things you can find in here, we're just going to touch on this. Make a suggestion, you can click on this, it'll bring you to the forums. Make sure you have an account, and filing a BLUFOR complaint is found here, and making an application for NCO is also found here. We take these all into consideration, and we recommend that you take a ride along or buddy up with a higher rank like a staff sergeant, lieutenant, another sergeant, captain, and occasionally the colonel, but not very often. And when you do a ride along, we'll know more about you, and we will definitely consider your application. We've already received about 18 so far. Really taking a good look and considering them at the moment. So one thing we're going to point out in game, my FPS is pretty low, the tilde key. This is the tilde key. This key, on your keyboard, when your TLR keys are on, of course, by pressing tab, this will pull up the cop menu, and in a vehicle you can access some special tools like the satellite camera. This is the most important, I would say, most important tool of the tilde key menu, the BLUFOR menu. This lets you see where it is, where everything's going on. If there's an India over here, what's going on. Let's say you're at the bank and you hear some shots being fired, you don't know where it is. You can call the CIA, get a satellite online, and basically listen to what's going on. The good thing about this is that you can actually hear the sound wherever you're going. You can actually hear the sound. So, for example, I'm in Civ Spawn. No way I can hear that Humvee, right? You can even hear the beeps down there. So you can hear shots. You can hear, it's very good for that kind of stuff. There's also night vision on, night vision off. Clearly it's daytime right now, so it's not going to be very useful. You can also use these editors to move how far you are, all the way out or all the way in. Um, these will just control your contrast, so how dark it is, how light it is. I believe that's more useful for night vision, just to see what's going on. I'm gonna go from basic things that we added last time, but maybe you weren't at the meeting or you missed the audio recording. The airstrike protocol, definitely on page 12, is very important. How to call an airstrike, what you can use, when the trainings are. The command personnel roster was updated with the last one. This is basically the new command roster. If you have any questions about your rank or what they do, these are listed here. This explains what your rank does and more questions. Everything you need to know is basically on the document, the BLUFOR handbook. And well, there's your problem. Basically explains everything you might need to know about BLUFOR. All the factions are listed here, all of your trainings, protocols, and everything. Looks like we've touched on everything we want to talk about. Generally, conduct on TeamSpeak is one thing I'm going to touch on as well. Being professional in channels, we don't want outside discussions. For example, if you're in a BLUFOR channel, please be very respectful to other people, and when they're in game, make sure not to talk about other activities. And if you're gonna use it as a off-duty room or kind of hangout area, you just definitely lounges for that. There's Civ channels, there's private rooms, there's everything else for that kind of stuff. In BLUFOR channels, generally it's everything in game. And if I go down to a BLUFOR channel, for any lieutenant, captain, or the colonel comes down to see what's going on, generally we shouldn't be seeing players screwing around or outside of tactical communications. We are going to start being more harsh with the BLUFOR suspensions and bans. They are very harsh, but I don't like to give it out, but sometimes we're forced to do it. Definitely something we don't want to be doing is breaking protocol. These are all listed here, basically what try to avoid, but most of it's pretty obvious. Emotions, I've already gone over this, but make sure you avoid that stuff. Definitely TeamSpeak is mainly where it happens. If you haven't known, during airstrikes, it doesn't bother us if you kill a civilian in an airstrike, just as long as you compensate them and it's not RDM. But if you do kill BLUFOR, just make sure you call out danger close next time, and before you do the airstrike at all, you call out danger close. We don't appreciate friendly fire, and it will not be listed as a combat loss. It will be listed as friendly fire or team killing on purpose. Careful with that. Also, I'm gonna touch on the junkie idea. For example, if we go over here, we've done this in the last BLUFOR meeting, but police officers that like to hang out on the main roads, just like the ones we can see here. There's too many of them right now on Rasmus.
Wake up.
We can already tell.
Hey, wake up.
Sorry about that. There's already two of them on Rasmus. So one thing independents like to do is we want, before we start about independence, let's compare the distance between BLUFOR and Rasmus. You can run to Rasmus. can actually run to Razman from comp base to Razman faster than you can take a helicopter from independent base to Razman. Very funny comparison. That's because 800 you're never more than a kilometer from comp base when you're in Razman. So even around here, it's still less than a kilometer. From Razman to the Indy base, it's 8,000 meters, 8 kilometers. So they have 8 times the distance. So when BLUFOR come in, they want to get there very quickly in a couple of seconds. They usually do, and they don't consider how they approach. So if there's some Indies over here, they were killed by an Indie, they were sniped. They get angry about that. They don't check the sniper hills, sniper building, sniper camping rocks over here. They run right back in and try to shoot them out from here. Doesn't work. Use tactical movements, go with squads, go with buddies. It's very good because it looks like they've locked down Razman here, but definitely you want to sweep out and move out all Indies and deter them from coming. For example, holding a checkpoint at truck shop or otherwise. Communicating with soldiers. It looks like there's lots of communication from what I can tell right now. We got some UN soldiers deployed. Right now everything seems to be running well, but when it doesn't, you got less players, less soldiers, you got more Indies online. That's when it starts to turn. When push turns to shove, that's when you know you gotta step into gear. Declaring martial law, those kind of things should be used more often. Just recall that when there's a bank robbery, the immediate area surrounding it is declared martial law, so you can deploy Bradley to go and destroy any targets. Just be mindful to be very tactical when you are a police officer. So that's all for this meeting. Thanks for listening. I'll be ending this meeting now. Thanks.